First thing I want to start talking about is an example. Say we have 3 people. Number 1, number 2, number 3. And you want to purchase a new car. First person is a stranger. Second person is your mechanic. And the third person is your brother. Now, assume all 3 people give you the exact same information about the vehicle. The features, what it does, its history, all the rest, etc., etc. They give you the exact same price tag as well. Who are you most likely to agree to purchase the vehicle of? Mechanic. Yeah. Mechanic? You guys? The mechanic? Brother? Your mechanic or the brother? Why not the stranger? They've all given you the exact same information. They've all told you everything that it does, all its details, identical. Why not the stranger? You don't know him. And these two? It's trust.
When you trust.
It comes down to trust. It absolutely, every single transaction you make, every relationship, everything that you're doing, that you walk through this world, comes down to trust. It's not really emphasized that much in business, but it's absolutely fundamental in anything. Like I said, this guy, he told you all the features, how good it is, everything. But because you did not trust this person, you were not willing to make that purchase. You're not willing to make that transaction. A second example. We've all been on dates. Yes, I'm assuming? No? During a date, have you ever had a person that only talks about themselves? A person that doesn't ask any questions about you. A person that really doesn't respond, is just really quiet and things like that. Of course, yes? In those situations, how have you felt in that situation? They're just talking about themselves. They answer yes or no to every question. They're not giving you anything. They look distracted. How do you feel in those situations?
Not interested.
Not interested? Bored? Sometimes I've even felt disrespected in a way. It's the exact same thing in sales and in business development. A lot of the time, the biggest flaw that people in this type of role make is it's just all about them. Me, 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 me. Oh, I got this and I tell you this and you can do this and go to with your kids. You have no interest in me. Why should I have an interest in you? They're just talking about themselves, their product, their service, their company. Nothing to do with you. They are not showing any interest whatsoever in you. And when that happens, first of all, the likelihood of the relationship occurring is low. Secondly, and more importantly, it's when things go wrong. When things are delayed, when they don't get what they want, whatever the situation might be, but when things go wrong, somebody who has given something to you, you're in a situation, you're in a relationship, you are more likely to take that and be like, that's okay, take the hit, move on, get a result. Somebody who's just been all about themselves, you're very quick to be like, no, I want nothing to do with you. Clearly you're self-centered, narcissistic, whatever the situation might be. Sales is exactly the same thing. You need to care about who you're talking to more than what you're talking about, fundamentally. To your knowledge, what's the difference between a salesperson and a business development manager? The reason I ask is I had a conversation with a friend of mine. He's working on a startup, one of my best friends actually, in South Africa to assist schools with sport or something like that. And we're going back and forth, and I was trying to explain to him about the Australian market and how people think here and my job. And he said to me, dude, you work in sales, you're a salesperson. And that, one, offended me. Secondly, it made me realize how ignorant his understanding of it was. And the majority of people are quite ignorant to what it actually is. So, to the best of your knowledge, there are no wrong answers. It's just lets me know exactly how much we need to cover this. What's your understanding of the difference between a salesperson and a business development manager? Not sure? No idea? You're on the right track. You're absolutely on the right track. Not sure? Okay, so I've got a few points here. A salesperson is an individual who just completes a transaction. You go there, you contact them, They find out what you want, and they give it to you. That's it. That is it. Where a business development manager, they're much bigger than that. The way I'll put it here is they expand the company's reach within new markets and improve brand placement. What they need to do is not just make a transaction, but create opportunity for future transactions. Put your brand out there to say, hey guys, this is somebody I dealt with from so-and-so company, you should deal with this person. When somebody goes to McDonald's and has a purchase and gets their meal, they're not going to go tell their friend, oh yeah, I went to McDonald's and I made this No, that's a transaction, they don't care. But when you're treated with a courtesy, they care about what you're doing, they listen to you, they use your first name, whatever the situation might be. Restaurants do it all the time, that's why it's called hospitality. You'll be more than likely to go to, oh, I went to this fantastic restaurant, it was gorgeous, they took care of me, yada, yada, yada. Even if the food was bad, even if it was overpriced, the fact that the person has made you feel like a person and not just a number, a transaction, one of the big differences. Next one, direct sales versus partnerships. So salespeople tend to have their service or product and they're working with the end user. They're looking to get it to the end user. BDMs also do the same thing, but the broader picture and more so where they get their remuneration from is creating partnerships where this organization, whether it's in nursing or accounting or medicine, whatever it might be, you've had a relationship with this organization, they vouch for you to other organizations. When this organization needs another problem solved, not just a transaction, say you sold them a couch, oh, next time they need a bed, they're going to come back to you because you've created a partnership, a relationship with them. It's not just about that single direct sale, it's about making sure that they feel that there is something between the two of you. Comes back to what I was talking about, treating people like people. Next one. A salesperson, a lot of the time, just because of the way they're trained and the way that they're remunerated, they tend to sell needs or wants. So you want something or you need something, a salesperson's like, yep, this is what it is, bang, give it to you. A business development manager has to have a far broader skill set than that. And there's something I used to explain to my colleagues when we were at National Australia Bank. One of the differences in the way that I thought about things is I would create opportunities rather than look for opportunities. And what that means is when you approach somebody, they don't know that you have anything that you can give them. They have no idea how you can help them. You need to create the value and opportunity to show them that if you take this step, if we create this partnership, this is what you could get out of it. It's not about just, I'll give you an example. You want to buy a house. A transaction would be, okay, yep, the house 350 grand, you need to pay a deposit of 20%, sign the paperwork, done. That's a transaction. Value proposition is, okay, what's the reason you want to buy the house? Oh, okay, you're going to have a family. Okay, the current house is too small, you want to be somewhere near school. So, value and opportunity is, look, if you get into this house, you've got to think of it like this. You've got stability. You know you've got a place to raise your family. Your wife is going to be happy because you know the kitchen's gorgeous. You know the back decking is awesome. You will now be able to just rest, take care of your family, have those beautiful kids. 5, 10 years from now, they're going to be running around the backyard. God knows how happy they're going to be. It's painting a picture to show them what this is actually going to give them beyond the transaction. Much, much broader skill set. The next one. Salespeople, like I said, they just talk about themselves. My shoes are great. They do this, they do that. You can tie them up. They only this, they do that. They're endorsed by this person. Whereas a business development manager will be like, look, if you want these shoes, this is what they're going to do for you. This is how they're going to improve your situation. This is what you'll get out of it. It's about them, not the himself. That's the way that they have their discussions. They're not talking. And they can go online and have a look at all the features of your product or service. That's not giving them anything. It's the reason why a lot of the time, if you notice, websites do not have prices online. They'll ask you to call them because the transaction just made like that doesn't stick. It doesn't stick and it doesn't create return business. But when they get you on the phone and they're able to actually have a conversation with you, it can create a much stronger bond in that situation. The last point, salespeople already have a product, a service, and a target. They know who they're looking for, and they know what they're going to give to them. You pointed out before, BDMs, they need to research, prospect, and qualify who they're actually looking for. Because you can't just say that this is a fit for this person, this is good for this person. You might not know. Until you understand who your customer is, who that client is, who that market is, what is going on in their situation, you might make an assumption that, they're not going to use that. And then it turns out this is the biggest market that you could have targeted. Without actually doing the research and understanding what is going on, you have no idea who to actually go after. Whereas salespeople already have a target. Business development managers have to figure it out. The other thing, I suppose this is more just a broader understanding of business development managers, is because of the way today's world is with information and knowledge, there's all these sales tricks and tactics and things like this that used to work in the 80s and 70s and 90s that we can pick up on like this very easy. You can tell if somebody's trying to sell something. You can tell when they're trying to push something. You can see when it's in their interest. Those tricks don't work anymore. You can't do that to people. And quite frankly, if you do, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to piss them off because you're disrespecting them, saying that you think I'm an idiot and I'm going to fall for this. Or two, you're going to make them uncomfortable because they know that they don't want to do this, but they feel forced into the situation. Another story I had with one of my friends back when I was like 22 or something, and I used to have like friends over and have great time and this and that, and then they'd end up like cooking breakfast or doing washing or like just some random activity in the house. And my friend said to me, dude, how do you get people to do what you want them to do? And I said to him, it's not about getting them to do what you want them to do. It's about getting them to want to do it for you. It's if you make them feel a certain way, you are able to just get people to voluntarily desire to do this for you. They talk about the fact that closing is the most important and hardest skill in sales. I call absolute bullshit. If you get the first 90% right, they'll walk through the door and close themselves. Yes, of course, there's going to be situations where you need to do your job and handle it. But a lot of the time, if you get to the certain point, all you've got to say is, all right, so I'm going to draw up the paperwork, I'm going to send it over to you. When are you going to be able to get it back to me? Oh, I should be able to get it back to you Tuesday. You didn't ask for the sale. You assumed the fact that it was going to happen. It had already occurred. You're just doing the next step. You're not closing them. You're just completing the transaction. This is one of the hardest things that people don't really understand. And then the other point is, because of the way business development managers work, we do a lot of the time work in front line, a lot of the time with C-level execs, a broad range of people. They have a very, very unique perspective and amount of information that they can give to marketing teams and product development. Because they're talking to the people that would otherwise make the decision or, I suppose, be informed. For instance, if I'm having a conversation and be like, yeah, we're the second largest, yada, yada, yada. We've actually just expanded in this suburb. Oh, I've never heard of you. Okay, so marketing knows that maybe we need to get a little bit more exposure out there. Yeah, I heard about it, but like everybody's saying this and this. Okay, so there's negative feedback that's coming towards the company. This is information that they can give back to the organization that is otherwise questionnaires, market research, all these other things that you have to do. But your BDMs, they can get this information for you if they do the job properly, because they're the ones speaking to the potential client, the potential customer. They're the ones already in the situation. Make sense? Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick role play. And basically in the same instance as salesperson and a business development manager. What are you guys working on? We'll go with the websites. So I'm going to call you. I'm going to assume that we have been acquainted, but let's see how we go.
Hello?
Hello, am I speaking with Guillem?
Yes.
Guillem, I was advised that you were interested in having a website built.
Yes, I do.
Oh, beautiful. Look, at the moment, these are the current packages that we have. We can get you sorted probably in about 2 weeks' time. It'll take about 4 weeks for us to be able to do that. And from there, you'll be able to manage the site. It's hosted for about 2 years. And then, yeah, it's yours.
All right.
Okay. Who was I just then? The salesperson or business development manager? How did it feel? Sales? Biz dev? You felt biz dev? Okay. Let's do the call again.
Hello.
Hello, am I speaking with Guillaume?
Yes.
Guillaume, I understand you're looking for a website to be built.
Yes, I do.
Ah, good, good. Tell me, what actually brought you to our company to look for your website to be built?
I just needed this website to be done so I can get exposure and some new clients.
Right. Ah, that's fair enough. Well, look, I'm glad you've come to us, and look, there's plenty of reasons I can tell you about where the organisation you should be with. But before I get into that, tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I'm an entrepreneur. I've been working in IT for a while, and
Yep.
I thought I would try to make a living out of it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what prompted you to want to have this website built?
So as I said before, just looking at having some presence online and getting more clients.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're 100% right there. In today's day and age, if you're not on the internet, you're doing yourself a disservice. But you've only looked to do it now. Why didn't you do it previously?
I've been too busy.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the money to invest at the time. As well.
That's understandable. That's understandable. And look, these are the types of things that we always take into account. We don't want to create a barrier with any of our clients. We always try to find a solution in which we can meet everybody's needs. But what are you looking to get out of the website? Aside from obviously more exposure online, was there anything else that you were looking to obviously achieve?
For the website itself?
Yeah.
I want it to be very simple to browse, very nice, to give a clear understanding of the services my company can offer.
Sharp and precise, would that be right?
Yes.
Good, good. Glad we're on obviously the same page here. Well, look, at this point, what we'd do is I'd have more of a discussion with one of our tech guys. He would then sit down with you and help understand more so what you're looking for. From there, they'll be able to put together a few different briefs for you so you can understand what the expectations might be, and you get to decide exactly one that suits you and your organization. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Beautiful. You guys understand the difference? It's all about showing interest in what they want. Because I could put together a website and be like, yeah, here it is, $800. This isn't what I wanted. Of course it's not what you wanted. I had no idea what you wanted. I didn't ask him what he wanted. You need to absolutely understand who your client is. What are the most important skills for a BDM, do you believe?
Empathy.
Empathy? Please don't mind my chicken scratch. Empathy?
Sociability.
Sociability?
Yeah.
So social skills? Smiling. We'll say positive. Anything else?
You have to share, you have to love the people you're...
Love the people?
Yeah. Honestly. Or pretend to...
Would you say authentic?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Honesty, integrity.
Passionate. Passionate? Perhaps?
A good knowledge of the product.
Knowledge?
Technical or not, but knowledge of the product or service.
Anything else? This is a good list.
Experience.
Experience? You guys have done an absolutely fantastic job in identifying these. The ones that I had, and I'll explain them a little bit more thoroughly, was empathy was the first one I had. Interpersonal skills, social skills, was the second one I had. The third one was mental flexibility, which I'll explain in a second. And the fourth one is resilience and fortitude. Now, the reason I've selected these, even though these other ones are important, this you can fake, believe it or not. Let's be honest. If you've had an absolutely terrible day, or you had a fight with your partner, whatever it might be, if you're a professional, you can put that aside and go and put this on. Love the people, authentic. I would say this one is important. The only reason I didn't have it in there is because this should come out naturally if you do the other things. Passion is I suppose makes it easier, but I wouldn't say it's necessary because, as I said, I did not care about hormones whatsoever. But I did care about people, and I cared about helping people. Knowledge and experience. This one I'll explain in a little bit more detail. It's a hard one to actually put together because the ones that I've put down are more natural attributes. Yes, they can be taught, but it's easier for somebody who's naturally acquired with what we've discussed here than it is to have somebody with all the knowledge in the world and trying to teach them these things. So when we say empathy, you said it correctly. Putting yourself in your client's shoes and fully understanding your customer and market. You can't make assumptions. That is dangerous. That is how you make mistakes. That's how you upset people. That's how you get fired. When you need to come across as an expert or a person that knows it, it's very hard to undermine or put yourself and ask the question, look, I actually don't know this. Can you help me out with it? It's very hard to do that. But quite frankly, that authenticity, people appreciate it. They actually do appreciate it, especially if they understand that you're doing a job or a role that is to help them. So you really, really need to understand your customer and their market. Absolutely. Put yourself in their shoes. The next one was interpersonal skills. That's what I put it down as. And I wrote it down as ability to connect with anyone, open up conversation, and promote the brand in a positive way. Building relationships and being able to communicate effectively. Speaks for itself, or do you want to get into a little bit more detail?
That's clear.
It's quite clear. Mental flexibility, agility, and creativity. Now, the reason I put this one down is because anybody who is, I put it like this. A lot of the time when somebody's been in a sales role for the last 30 years or 40 years or 20 years, it doesn't matter, and they come into another one and they think they know how to do it. They think they know that their way always works. They know how to close. They know how to do this. They know how to do that. That person's an idiot. And I don't mean that in any other way besides it's an idiot, because they're not willing to adapt to the way things change. And if that happens, they're going to become an extinct species. People change. Technology changes. The world changes. If you cannot adjust and move to it, you will break. You will absolutely break. It doesn't work like that. You have to be able to be nimble with yourself. The next way I put it is prospecting. So when you're prospecting, you again need to think laterally. It's not just this, okay, I'm in sports teams, so I should be looking for sports clubs. What about community centers? What about schools? Be liberal, think broad. Don't just put yourself in this pigeonhole. When you're prospecting, you need to be able to see all the opportunities. Being in startups, it's a bit of a double-edged blade because you've got to understand that you have to have a beachhead market. You have to have a specific market that you have to target to start off with. But you should know where your other avenues are, where you'll be able to grow, the next area that you might be able to get into. Maybe it allows you to have a strategy that allows you to build more conclusively, create more brand awareness, where if you were to say, only know about this target market, and then you guys have done really well here, and then it's like, oh, okay, now where do we go next? Okay, now we need to start looking into it again. Had you have already understood the entire broad spectrum of what's going on, you logically know when you've smashed this market and you know it is sorted, okay, the next step we need to take is this market. Oh, but what about these guys? They were also, actually, you know what, this is better, especially if we only have this much capital. Let's go after these guys first. Understand all possible opportunities. That's what I mean by being flexible about it. Persuasion and problem solving. Again, if I was to speak to you and try to convince you to go to dinner with me, or you, I would have to adapt to whatever situation you throw at me. Your personality, whatever's going on currently in your circumstances, whatever your situation is. I can't just take one approach to all of you and put a blanket over it. Might as well be a TV advertisement that's just there, tell everybody. No, you have to specifically adapt to each person when you're trying to persuade them of these situations. Same with problem solving. Again, it goes back to the guy who's been doing the job for the 40 years and he thinks he knows exactly how to do it. can't figure out how to fix it because the one way that he knows doesn't work. When it comes to problem solving, and Guillaume will attest to this, the most powerful question is why. Just keep asking that question and you will figure it out eventually. And it's not some epiphany moment. You just feel it. You know that this is the area that and that's the answer. You will know this if you allow yourself to have that broad spectrum of problem solving. You need to be able to change your approach as required and think outside the box when necessary. It's just across the board. That's the easiest way I can put it. Then, of course, resilience and fortitude. This is extremely, extremely important. Have you guys ever been in sales? Any of you? You have? Yeah. You have as well? It is stressful. It is extremely stressful. And the easiest way to get through it is to have, ironically, leaders that actually take care of you, that know that no matter what you're doing your task, that when those situations do come up where you feel like you're on the ground and you're flat, that they'll take care of you. Deals that drag on, goes without saying, it does your head in, especially when there's somebody else saying, hey, when are you going to get that deal in? Hey, when are you going to get that deal in? Hey, when you... And you're like, it's coming, and you just have to write it out. That's just what you have to do. Hearing no. Hello, would you like to do that? No, I'm not interested. Hello, no, I'm not interested. If you get upset when somebody says no to you, if it brings you down, then it's such a barrier. You really need to do some internal searching because the old saying, every no brings you closer to a yes. That's not fact. That's just a simple way of thinking. It's statistically, yes, you can say that it is, but it's more so understanding a mindset that what has just happened is done. It's done. Move on. Get to the next thing. Forget about that. You now have to do whatever's necessary. What is next for you? And prospecting and finding leads. The arduous, boring task of prospecting and finding leads. A lot of companies now have pre-sales or appointment setters that do all that rubbish for you, so you don't have to worry about it, because they understand that if you have, let's say you have a tank, each day you have a full tank that you have to apply. Using 70% of that tank prospecting and looking for leads and 30% actually being a BDM and completing these transactions, it's not very efficient. Whereas if you can use 90% of that tank being a BDM and doing those tasks and actually getting out there, far more powerful. It allows you to do a lot more. It even increases your tank, in all honesty, because you can feel the progress in what you're doing. The monotony of prospecting and looking for leads is very, very tiring. Again, why you need fortitude and resilience. But that little good feeling when you know you found somebody or that situation, absolutely, absolutely wonderful. There's a framework I want to share with you guys. It's called REQUEST. This is what it stands for. Research, engage, qualify, understand needs. It's qualify and understand needs. Evaluate, solution, transaction. Research, this is just all the prospecting, looking for the right market, looking for the right people. It goes even deeper than this. In one of my roles, what we would do is we'd actually look for the right person to speak to within an organization. Whether it was the procurement manager or anybody specific, if we already had a mutual connection, we would use that to leverage an introduction. It goes deep. The amount of research you want to put in is completely up to the level of, I suppose, depth you need to go into. Engage. This just means contact the person somehow. Send them an email, give them a call, meet them for coffee, whatever the situation might be. Just engage them. Qualify and understand needs. This is your meat. This is your meat and bones here. This is where you need to fully understand who you're talking to. Is this person a fit for our organization? Can we get more out of this? What else can we be able to do? You might think originally that there was only one solution that you were going to give them, a website. Then it turns out that they also need web hosting and this and this and this and this. You wouldn't have figured that out unless you did this part properly. Even if you have qualified them, yep, they want a website. But further understand. You notice one of the things that I actually did was I asked him questions in three kinds of tense. It's, what are you doing now? What were you doing? And what's the plan for the future? That gives you a very, very good spectrum of understanding their decision making previously and how they've ended up where they are and what needs to happen now for them to get where they want to be. Very, very good way to look at it. It's not always necessary. A lot of the time you can just offer them a solution, but it is a good way to look at it. Evaluate. This is looking over what you've been able to gain, understanding the full picture. Okay, it's right there. If you needed to, the way we used to have to do it previously is we would have a conversation with a customer, and then we'd have to go to our team leader and we'd have to tell that team leader all about that customer. And unless we covered enough detail, they'll say, no, go back and speak to them again. This is the evaluate part. Understanding fully that you've done what's necessary. Solution, put it all together. Bang, okay, what's the best thing for this person? What's the best thing for this organization? And then finally, close it, close the deal, make the transaction. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.